Welcome to Excellent TV. Subscribe and share to our channel.
In this video, we're going to talk about basic division. Let's start with a simple example. What is 12 divided by 4? Now, what does it mean to divide something? Well, let's say if you have $12 and you wish to divide it among 4 people. How much money would you give each person? Let's say if you have 12 single dollar bills. How much single dollar bills would you give each person? So you have to break it up into 4 parts. So each person, if you're going to make it equal, should receive $3 because 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 12. And so that's how you can divide 12 into 4 equal parts. And that's the basic idea behind division. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now division is the reverse of multiplication. 4 times 3 is 12. So let's say if you want to divide 42 by 6. Ask yourself, 6 times what number is 42? If you know your multiplication tables, you know that 6 times 7 is 42. So 42 divided by 6 is 7. And so that's the basic idea behind division. It's the opposite of multiplication. Let's try this problem. What is 180 divided by 4? So go ahead and work on this problem. So 180 is the dividend, 4 is the divisor. So 4 doesn't go into 1, but how many times does 4 go into 18? Well, if we make a list by adding 4s, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This computer has issues. Now 20 exceeds 18. So we could say that 4 goes into 18 4 times because 4 times 4 is 16. We have to pick a number that's just under 18, the highest number under 18. Now 18 minus 16 is 2, and now we need to bring down a 0. So how many times does 4 go into 20? 4 goes into 20 5 times. 4 times 5 is 20, and so the remainder is 0. So our answer is 45. That's the quotient. So this is the quotient, and this is the remainder. Let's try another simple example like that. Let's divide 162 by 6. Feel free to pause the video and work on that example. So let's begin. How many times does 6 go into 16? So if we make a list, 6 plus 6 is 12, 12 plus 6 is 18, 18 plus 6 is 24. Now 18 exceeds 16, so we need to stop at 12. So we could say that 6 goes into 16 2 times. 6 times 2 is 12. And 16 minus 12 is 4. Now we need to bring down the 2. And 6 goes into 42 exactly 7 times. 6 times 7 is 42. And so this is the answer. 162 divided by 6 is 27. And so that's how you can do basic division. Now let's say if you wish to divide 23 by 5. What is the answer? Well, here we have an issue because 5 doesn't go into 23 nicely. For example, 5 times 4, we know it's 20 based on the multiplication tables. And 5 times 5 is 25. So therefore, the answer is somewhere between 4 and 5. So it's not a whole number, but it's a decimal. So how can we divide 23 by 5? How can we split this number into 5 equal parts? Well, there is a process for doing this, and it's long division. Now, this number, the 23, is called the dividend. This number, the 5, is known as the divisor, and the result that you get is the quotient. So the dividend needs to go on the inside. The divisor goes on the outside, and the quotient goes on top, and your remainder will be on the bottom. So 23 is the dividend, 5 is the divisor. So how many times does 5 go into 23? What I'd like to do is make a list. 5 plus 5 is 10, 10 plus 5 is 15, 15 plus 5 is 20, 20 plus 5 is 25. And so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now 25 exceeds 23. 20 is the highest number just under 23. So we could say that 5 goes into 23 4 times. 5 times 4 is 20. And then subtract. 23 minus 20 is 3. And so this is the remainder, and the quotient is 4. So we can write the answer as 4, remainder 3. Thus, it can be said that 5 goes into 23 4 times with a remainder of 3. Now, sometimes you may need to write your answer as a decimal. And so you want to keep going until this is equal to 0, or if you're satisfied with the answer that you have here. Now 5 doesn't go into 3 nicely, so what we need to do is add a decimal point and a 0. So we need to bring down the 0. Now we're going to treat this as if it's 30. How many times does 5 go into 30? 5 goes into 30 6 times. 5 times 6 is 30, but 5 times 0.6 must be 3. And so now we have a remainder of 0. When you get a remainder of 0, then your quotient represents the exact answer. So 23 divided by 5 is 4.6. So if you want to divide this number into 5 equal parts, it's 4.6 as the decimal number. Now let's try some other examples. So what is 27 divided by 4? Go ahead and write your answer with a quotient and a remainder, and also write your answer as a decimal. So 27 is the dividend, 4 is the divisor. Now let's make a list. So we have 4, 8, 12, 16. If you keep adding 4, 20, 24, 28. We're going to stop here because 28 exceeds 27. And so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 4 goes into 27 6 times. 4 times 6 is 24, and 27 minus 24 is 3. So one way in which we could write the answer is we could say that 27 divided by 4 is 6 with a remainder of 3. But now let's also write the answer as a decimal. So let's add a decimal point. How many times does 4 go into 3? 4 goes into 3 0 times, so that's why you have to add the decimal point. But how many times does 4 go into 30 if we treat the 3 as if it's 30? 4 goes into 30 7 times. By the way, if you continued, 32 would correlate to 8. So that would be too much. So 4 times 7 is 28, so 4 times 0.7 is 2.8. 30 minus 28 is 2. So we get 0.2, and then bring down a 0. Now how many times does 4 go into 20? 4 goes into 25 times. And so at this point, these two, they cancel. So the remainder is going to be 0. So our final answer as a decimal is 6.75. So that's 27 divided by 4. Now let's try another example. What is 59 divided by 8? So let's write it this way. So we have 8 as the divisor, 59 as the dividend. So how many times does 8 go into 59? So I'm going to make a list. 8, 16, 24, 32, and just keep adding 8. 40, 48, 56, and 64 exceeds 59. So 8 goes into 59 7 times. 8 times 7 is 56. And 59 minus 56 is 3. Now 8 goes into 3 0 times. So let's add a decimal point. Now how many times does 8 go into 30? So looking at this, 32 is too much. So 24 is the highest number just under 30. So 8 goes into 30 3 times. 8 times 3 is 24. And 30 minus 24 is 6. Now let's bring down another 0. So how many times does 8 go into 60? 8 goes into 60 7 times. 8 times 7 is 56. The difference between 60 and 56 is 4. So now we need to add another 0. So 8 goes into 40 exactly 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40. And so now we have a remainder of 0. So thus, 59 divided by 8 is equal to 7.375. So this is our answer.